Essentially, it would mean that someone is not in Canada documented, or legally is the other terminology. So they're not documented to be in Canada. I mean, the analogy would be crossing like an unmarked border, like between, let's say, White Rock and Blaine, and just walking across the border.
The CBSA calls it a security breach, and it happened last month at Vancouver International Airport. Passengers on a WestJet flight from LA to Vancouver were allowed to leave the plane. Then some were led through the wrong gate. The airport says the gate was mistakenly opened, and it led to the domestic terminal where people can easily exit the airport.
Obviously, it's not the fault of the passengers because they were led in a different direction, but it's still they would have to have some way of there's obviously an airline manifest of the passengers, and they provide information on where they're staying in Canada. So there'd have to be an effort to sort of track down those passengers.
Which is exactly what WestJet and the Vancouver Airport Authority says happened once the mistake was caught. The CBSA says it immediately worked with the Vancouver Airport Authority, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, and WestJet to identify the travelers and redirect them to the CBSA area for processing. Within 24 hours, the CBSA completed customs and immigration screening of all travelers. This is not the first time this has happened. In 2015, something similar occurred when passengers on an Air Canada flight from Beijing to YVR ended up in a similar situation. Somebody had left a door open to the domestic area. In that case, YVR and the Richmond RCMP said it managed to track everyone down.
I don't know if there was any compensation to any of those passengers, but I do know there was a change in security procedures at YVR in terms of having more employees available to guide people through the correct doorways and making sure that certain doors were to remain locked and only unlocked by certain employees.
Ultimately, it's lessons learned for WestJet, the CBSA, and the airport.
It sounds to me like in this situation, it was a lose-lose-lose situation. It was a real headache for CBSA, headache for the airline, headache for the passenger. It's not like anybody had any kind of motive to do something other than just follow where the doors are pointing.
At Vancouver International Airport, Ria Renouf, City News.